What's up, motherfuckers? Kyle here again. It's FAQ'n Friday, and I'm here to answer all of your FAQ'n questions. We got a lot of questions this week, so thank you guys very much for leaving those. I really appreciate it. Makes this a lot more fun. Before we get started, I've been asked by a few people to weigh in on Gibson buying Mesa Boogie. I am not going to do that. As much as, people love to speculate and do all that stuff, nobody has the inside information as far as the people who have released videos and stuff like that. Number one, I don't have a background in business. I don't know what goes on behind Gibson and Mesa's closed doors. I don't even know how these deals really work. So for me to put an opinion out there would literally just be me talking out of my ass. And I don't do that. I like to do things based on factual information and things I actually know. So I'm gonna leave that for the other people who want to either A, speculate, B, talk completely out of their ass, or C, who actually do have some sort of inside information and provide us with facts. Number two, no matter what I or anyone else says, most people have already formed their opinions and they're gonna stick to them no matter what facts are put out there, no matter what happens. So I don't really care to try and push any sort of narrative or even give an opinion, because I have no idea what's gonna happen, and even if I did, my opinion probably won't change your opinion. Number three, I'm not here to make videos for any sort of attention grabbing news or anything like that. But a lot of guys put out videos like this kind of just for views. That's not really the intent of my channel. The intent of my channel is just to remain as honest as possible and give you guys cool gear reviews. So I don't really feel like I'd be doing you guys justice, putting a video out there like that. Basically with the only intention of grabbing views, because I don't really have any sort of knowledge or insight on what's going on. So for me, that would be really dishonest, and that's not what I'm about. Yeah, I'm just here to, play some crappy hardcore guitar riffs through some really cool amps, and hopefully it helps you guys. Really, in this situation, I think only time will tell what's gonna happen, and we really just have to wait and see over the next, honestly, 5, maybe 10 years on if this will affect quality, if this will affect pricing, anything else. I don't think we're gonna see immediate changes, but I could be wrong. But time is gonna be the true test of how this changes everything. Nobody knows right now. We won't know until later down the line. If you're a Mesa fan, if you're a Gibson fan, if you really think this is going to affect things, wait and see. That's all I gotta say. Wait and see. And as far as the pre-Gibson Mesa joke, that's already super old in my opinion. And I'm a dude that loves a joke and make light of situations, but it's already annoying. Let's get into your questions, because that is why we're FAQ'n here. First question comes from my buddy Andrew Ward. Thank you, Andrew. Hey Kyle, just wondering if you've ever tried any of the, rare or hard to get boutique high gain amps, and if so, what are your thoughts? I'm talking Driftwood, Voricci, Rev, Laboga, etc. The only one that I have really tried has been the Omega Granophyre, or Granophyre, however you want to pronounce it. I still don't know yet. That amp was absolutely awesome. I'm going to get it back on the channel because I shot a video like an absolute moron. I forgot to record the audio, so I had to scrap the video. But luckily, my buddy Jason owns it. He's going to let me borrow it again at some point. That's really one of the only super boutique kind of, small run, higher end amps that I've tried. All the rest of the stuff that I've tried has been like Friedman, Bogner, Dietzel, stuff like that. Stuff that's relatively mass produced and pretty easy to get your hands on. I've been able to try a bunch of that stuff, but the Revs and the KSRs and the Omega stuff, they don't really pop up all that often at prices I'm comfortable with paying, even though I really want to try those amps. So I haven't tried them yet. Working on that this year. I would like to get definitely a KSR, definitely a Rev, definitely a Driftwood. The Omega's gonna be on here for sure. Jason just picked up a Rev Generator Mark II, so I'm gonna see if I can borrow that for a little bit and get a good video on that. And then also I really wanna try a Dover DA50, I think is the model, because all the videos on that thing sound ridiculous, and it sounds right up my alley, so I really wanna try that thing. A lot of people have been giving me really positive feedback lately, just basically saying that they think that my channel's gonna blow up essentially, so that's really encouraging for me, and really surprising, and honestly, I'm flattered by everybody who's saying that. I appreciate you guys' positive feedback. I appreciate the constructive criticism. A lot of you guys have been telling me I need to get a lav mic. I just bought one yesterday. I totally agree with you guys. I think it would help the channel out. I bought one before, but it didn't quite work out, and I kind of been dragging my feet on getting another one. So got another one coming in, but thank you for all the positive feedback, all the positive comments. I appreciate you guys so much hanging around, and yeah, I hope this channel does get big. Not because I'm trying to make a name for myself, but just because I really like making gear demos and trying stuff out and putting it out there and interacting with you guys. So again, thank you very much. Barry Gomez says, have you ever ran any of your Mesas through your PV412? I've always liked Sheffields, at least with my 6505 Plus, but can't find a video of a Mesa Sheffield combo. Not yet. I only really have one Sheffield loaded, I've got two Sheffield loaded cabs, which are both the 5150 cabs that I have. Haven't really tried many amps at all through those cabs because honestly, I don't love the Sheffield 1200 5150 speakers. They're not my favorite. Maybe one day I will try that though. I really want to do a cab shootout video, but that's a video that's kind of reserved for when I have a lot of time. Most of these videos I shoot on my lunch break, and then I edit them when I wake up. I wake up early for work and edit them before I go to work because that's really the only time I have to do this stuff. So I've got some really cool ideas for when I do have a lot of time to shoot these videos, but I'm not sure when I'm gonna be able to execute that stuff. Hugo says, which would you choose, 5150 50 watt EL34 or standard 6L6? Stock form, I would choose the 6L6 because I don't like the stock EL34 blue channel. It's just not my thing. It's too subdued, it's too round and kind of muffled for my tastes. Once you do the C137 mod, it's a different story, but I love the 6L6 50 watt 5153. I've talked about it a bunch on this channel. Awesome amp. I would choose that over the stock EL34 pretty much 10 out of 10 times because I tend to play on the blue channel more than anything else. So that would be my go-to. Little tip for you guys, if the red channel is out of control, either put a 12AT7 preamp tube or a couple of 5751 preamp tubes in the preamp spots that affect the red channel. You can really reduce the ridiculous amount of gain that's on that red channel by doing so and make that channel a lot more usable. You may like it, you may not, but it is an option to reduce the gain on that channel because as soon as you turn the gain on the red channel on the 50 watt 6L6 model, it's like too much. So that's my opinion. A lot of people share that opinion, so I'm just putting that out there for you guys. Give that a try, see if you like it. All right, Austin Eldridge, my man, he's been around for a while asking me a lot of questions. So what's your signal chain from your guitar to computer? What DAWs, and are you miking cabs in every video or do you have IRs you like? So for the most part, I am miking cabs, and for the most part, I'm just using an SM57 straight into my Focusrite interface. Like I said, and I've said many times before, my purpose of this channel is to give you guys the most honest sounding review that I can, and that comes through giving you completely unprocessed audio. That's why I like to keep my signal chain simple, and that's why I use a mic that everybody knows, and that's why I mic everything through V30s, because everybody knows V30s. There's reasons to the things that I do, but yeah, it's just single SM57 straight into my Focusrite Sapphire 2i2. The 3rd gen is the one that I've been using, but I have a 2nd gen as well. As far as my signal chain for my guitar, you guys have seen, Jesus Christ, I did it again. Nope, still wrong. Nope, still wrong. Okay, over here. I'm just gonna move. There we go. So you guys have seen that pedal board? Dude, I'm so bad at this. All right, you guys have seen that pedal board back there in almost every video that I've done, because I wanted to put a variety of boosts on a single pedal board and show you what boosts that I'm using, because that's one less question you guys have to ask later, and you can see it in real time when I'm turning them on and off. So you see my signal chain. It's guitar into that pedal board over there with all the boosts on it, and then into the amp. And then obviously the cab is mic'd by the SM57. So that would be my signal chain. Jonathan M asks, hey man, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for a living? So I am the logistics manager at a company that manufactures extremely large equipment. So most of my day is centered around coordinating large pieces of freight to wherever it is that we sold them to. Jason, my other guitarist and the guy that lets me borrow a couple amps, is the one who got me the job, and I'm forever appreciative of him for doing that. It's a really interesting job. Every day is something different. It's a challenge, and it's gotten easier with the years. but man, there are days that I feel like I am completely over my head. I did not graduate college. I don't have a degree. So this company basically just completely took a chance on me based on the interviews and the information that I provided when I applied, and with a little poke from Jason. So I'm very lucky to have the job that I have. It's helped me grow as a person, as a businessman, and just as somebody who is capable of doing things that they never thought that they could do in general. So that's what I do. Large equipment, and I also work in the repair parts department, so I have two different jobs essentially. The second job is talking to customers when parts of their equipment break down, researching that equipment, because we've been making equipment since the early 1900s. So, and there's stuff out there from the 50s and 60s that's still running, so we have to figure out how to repair it. So I have to read blueprints and research documents and stuff to figure all that stuff out. So it's a very involved job. It took me a really long time to really get up to speed, and I'm talking like a couple years. But the job has been very rewarding. It's a good company to work for. Again, I wouldn't still be there if it wasn't for my own hard work, but I definitely owe it to Jason for him, sticking his neck out for me and getting me the job, and really lucked out because, I flip gear and I make money off flipping gear, but I would not make nearly the money that I do if I had stayed at my old job as an assistant warehouse manager than if I had jumped over here. So job's been a blessing for, if anything, getting all the gear. All right, last question. LASV, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, 155 is, Kyle, do you use a pedal board? What pedals do you use? Front and FX loop choices, and your thoughts on pedals through high gain amps. Do I want or need a distortion pedal in my EVH Stealth 50 setup? Need doesn't really apply, in my opinion. It really comes down to personal taste. First off, I'll show you my pedal board. This is the one I use for shows, okay? Anyways, so we've got the tuner on the end here. I've got my little Chinese noise gate because it has a real small footprint and actually works really well. My MXR Badass OD that you guys have seen a million times, my KHDK, which I've used on a few channels, and then my Twin City ABY from Radial. That's because I'm using a stereo setup in both of my bands now, so I need a good ABY pedal that has ground lift function to, make sure that there's no phasing issues between the two amps when I run stereo. So that is my pedal board. This is what I use for shows, for practice, everything. I don't use any loop-based effects because truthfully, I don't really even know how to use them. I'm not a good guitarist. I've said this a million times. I'm a very one-dimensional guitarist, but I do plan on trying to get into delays, reverb, stuff like that. I do have a 10-man MXR EQ that I throw in the loop of some amps, but that's only if I'm like really not happy with the tone stack of the amp overall. So like sometimes I'll throw it in a dual rectifier and mess around with it. The Mesa Stiletto I also feel needs it to bump up the lows because that thing has like no low end. So I'll use it, in certain situations, but for the most part, nothing in the loop for me. So yeah, as far as the like distortion or overdrive on a high gain amp, that's completely up to you, man. I boost everything. People have already given me shit for it online and on this channel. Well, that amp doesn't need a boost. F you, man. I'll decide if it needs a boost or not. And you can too. It's not an end all be all. You know what I mean? It's completely to taste. And for me, the boost is just one additional way to color the sound, to tweak it a little bit more to my liking. I like what most amps sound like with a boost in front of them, regardless of how much gain they have. It's not a matter of boosting them to get the saturation that you need. It's a matter of tightening the amp, adding EQ where maybe the amp's missing EQ, and some harmonics and stuff that putting a boost in front of an amp does. So really, it's completely up to each individual user, what tone they're trying to achieve and everything. Me personally, I will boost most of my amps just because I like the way that it sounds. I like the way that it makes the amp feel. Makes it a little easier to play. So for guys like me who aren't good, that kind of helps out a little bit. But certain amps I feel I don't need a boost with, like the Seriatone Chupacabra 50 that I did a demo of. When I turned a boost on, I liked the amp less, and that doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So yeah, I mean, it really is situationally dependent. It depends on your pickups, your guitar, the amp, the cab. Hell, it can even depend on the room. There's so much that varies when it comes to that stuff. I will generally always have an overdrive on my board, sometimes two, just to see what works better with what amp I'm using at the time. but it's completely up to the end user. I will recommend it if somebody's trying to get a tighter tone or a clearer tone, because you can back the amp gain down, push the front end a little harder, tightens everything up. But no, you don't need it unless you feel like you need it. It really comes down to your personal taste. So yeah, that's my take on that. That's all the time I have for today, guys. Please put your questions down below in the comment section. Let me know if this video was helpful. I can't wait to talk to you guys on this stuff next week. We've got lots of cool stuff coming. I say that every video, but really excited about this channel, really excited about you guys hanging out. Please leave your comments with questions or anything else you guys want to talk about, because I love interacting with you guys in the comments. That's what makes this whole thing worthwhile. And we will see you next week. Kyle here again. We'll see you guys next time.